Thank you for watching Joy in Our Town on TBN. I'm your host, Jaquetta Williams. We finally gotten past Thanksgiving and the meals we all had, but our show is about giving thanks and being grateful for the things we have and being able to help people who need it with food, shelter, or by spreading the gospel. In Psalms 100 it says, "Know that the Lord is God. It is He who made us, and we are His. We are His people, the sheep of His pasture. Enter His gates with thanksgiving and His courts with praise. Give thanks to Him and praise His name." Our first stop is in Atlanta to show you Restart 320 and what they did on the day before Thanksgiving. Then we'll take flight with MFI, or Missionary Flights International. They've been around for more than 50 years, helping people with missionary trips and more. And then we'll show you how people in Florida have learned how to feed the whole man, along with helping people do better with Hands with Hope. And then we cannot forget about the Boxes of Love. Also out of Florida, it's an outreach program that's aimed at helping the practical and spiritual needs of people. And finally, we'll hear a testimony that may change your life that comes from the Billy Brumsfield shelter. You'll meet a man whose life may not be that different from yours or mine. He had a good life and a family, and he had a job until some things happened and he ended up homeless. His story just might inspire you. So let's get this show started. We went on location here in Atlanta to see how the folks with Restart 320 are helping to fight homelessness. It's a facility that helps to get people off the streets and restart their lives. But when we got there, we also saw how they worked in partnerships with other organizations, determined to help people with food, not just on Thanksgiving Day, but the day before. Take a look. Organizers and volunteers worked hard to get this area ready for the numerous people who would come here to get a hot meal and maybe a hug or any example of love that said to someone who is living on the street that we care about you. Meet Daniel Levinson with Restart 320. How did you come up with the name Restart 320?
To help people restart their life. Being spiritual turns a lot of people on, but it does turn some people off.
Why?
I just think people get nervous about talking about God and Christ.
This is a homeless shelter aimed at helping people find comfort, clothing, food, and get cleaned up.
Our doors are open to everyone, but if you are part of our organization and work with it, there's a spiritual aspect of the employees that's not reflected on our clients. But we don't believe that anyone that's living outside and living under a bridge and sees all that the world has to offer is going to make a shift without a higher power. Our goal, of course, is to make all of our clients, and that's how we refer to them, become more self-sufficient. And so our kind of motto is we're trying to give a hand up, not just a handout. But it does start with a handout because most of them are here for food, for warm clothing. We have a pretty big clothing closet. We're doing a clothing drive for 2 months in November, December. But we are trying to help them improve themselves. We work with some of the larger organizations like Mercy Care. The first Saturday of every month they come in and do health screenings and try to talk about nutrition, but at the end of the day, not many of them are prepared to listen to that. The second Saturday, we work with Crossroads and help people get IDs. Because if you don't have an ID, you can't get anything done. We're opening our doors to all the homeless. It doesn't matter, male, female, your orientation, your lifestyle. If you're homeless, our doors are open to you.
Restart 320 has been around for 2 years, but the work they plan to do, they hope will last a lifetime.
I kind of carry around a coin that says, leave a legacy. When you have success, you have to share it. So our legacy is to get 500 people off the street in the next 20 years. I just met Anthony a month ago, and he called us up out of the blue, and we said, absolutely. And so Anthony, he'll tell you his story, but we've just provided him our building. And we're excited. We hope this is the first of many years that we'll have that here.
What he's talking about is a program Anthony Hamilton started called The Day Before, which is actually about the day before Thanksgiving. It started with 2-piece chicken boxes, which was what he could afford at the time. But now, 3 years later, it's grown to so much more, to include turkey, ham, barbecue, and various sides.
We're prepared to feed at least 1,000 people.
What was the significance of The Day Before for you?
Well, like I said, it originally started out with my kids, and with me growing up here in Atlanta, I've had a lot of people to reach out and help me through my way. It was for me trying to teach my kids that life has not always been what you guys have, and it's about giving back. I mean, I actually started taking my kids to feed the homeless when my oldest son was 3.
But why not the day of Thanksgiving then? What's the significance of the day before?
I'll be honest, and I tell people this all the time, I was being a little selfish.
Oh.
I wanted to be able to spend Thanksgiving with my family. So I always did it the day before so we can go out and be involved in the community and then still be able to be with our family on the actual day. And then we also thought about it, if we feed today, you have Hosea Williams, you have all these different people that feed on the day of.
Right.
So we were like, well, if we can give them a meal the day before and then get a meal on the day of, it's 2 meals.
Right.
But how does it make me feel? It's awesome because the whole thing was teaching my son to give back. And now my son is sharing that same thing with his friends. And I had 3 kids at my house last night that are there that were prepared to come out and help out.
Restart 320 works with a number of faith-based organizations and various nonprofit organizations as well. They also help people find housing and/or permanent or temporary jobs. If you want to know more about Restart 320, go to their website. It's restart320.org. This next organization has helped to fly fish, goats, and people to various places around the world. Missionary Flights International also helps to respond to disasters too. Let's hang out in the friendly skies, shall we? And see how MFI works.
MFI has been around for about 53 years now, and our mission is to spread the good news of Jesus Christ in partnership with Bible-centered missions by providing 2 things: reliable transportation and logistical services. One man with 1 airplane started flying to the Bahamas to lead Youth for Christ rallies. His name was Don Belden. He flew over there to help the missionaries and spread the gospel, and the missionaries over there started asking him, hey, next time when you come, can you bring this or can you bring that? So that was kind of the birth of Missionary Flights, and so we started, a board was formed, and we started flying then to Haiti, which at that point they started looking in the Caribbean to find out where was the largest concentration of Christian missionaries and where was the greatest need. The type of things that missionary needs is immeasurable. I mean, you can think about it. We've flown goats, 18 goats one flight, 62,000 fish, very small fish. They were little tiny ones in bags, but to use for mosquito population control and also for food, tilapia. But we fly generators, we fly medical supplies, we fly toys for the orphans, swing sets, school supplies, Bibles, Sunday school materials. They've told us that if we were not here, that they could not exist in Haiti. They don't have Walmart down the road, Sam's Club and Home Depot, or even the car dealerships, the vehicles to keep them repaired. We can buy things here locally and have them down to them and be able to help them function and keep their vehicles going, keep their generators going, and computer supplies, cartridges, all that kind of stuff. We kind of take it for granted that we can just go down the street and get things. And so that's a big part of what we do. Not only, they can order stuff on the internet, but we actually have volunteers that go shopping for them, pick up things locally, and then we can ship it down to them. The way we fly the supplies down is we have a hangar in Fort Pierce. The supplies will show up via just personal people will bring them by, UPS, FedEx, US Postal Service. It all shows up here with designations of who it's going to, so we know which city and which country to bring it to, and then we first come, first serve. When it shows up, we'll put it on our plane and load it up with the passengers that we fly as well, down to Hispaniola, which is made up of Haiti and the Dominican Republic, which is the 2 main countries we go to. The passengers that we fly are going on mission trips. Most of them are doing short-term mission trips for about a week. They could be doing construction, building a church, or benches, playground for an orphanage, or medical teams, dental teams, optical teams, some youth groups that go down as well. So that's the majority of our passengers, about 3,000 per year. In addition to the regular flights that we do to Haiti and the Bahamas and Dominican Republic, we respond to disasters. Back in 2010, when the big earthquake hit in Haiti, we responded and other organizations partnered with us. But just recently, actually the last 3 years, we had Hurricane Joaquin 2 years ago. Last year it was Matthew. This year, well, Maria and Irma together. We flew on Saturday with a load of passengers back from Puerto Rico that are trying to escape. And there were some people that we heard needed to get out. It was a family of 8, 6 kids and 2 parents. And I thought they were down there on vacation or something, and just, they had a connection to us. One of our staff members had a relative that knew them. And so when we unloaded them here Saturday night, their belongings were in sheets. It was kind of like, I pictured Santa Claus with a big bag of stuff, but they had to pack their stuff rather quickly. They didn't have suitcases. They had like 5 big sheets of all their clothes and stuff, and they had to just evacuate because their home was destroyed. That they just gone down there to be missionaries 4 months ago, and now everything was just destroyed. And so we had a part, and it was just neat to see how we were able to partner with them and help them get back here to the States and get started again. We help, with education, we help with medical, getting people better medical care so their lives are longer and meeting their physical needs. But if we don't teach them about who Jesus is, then we've failed them, because if they live longer and they still die without knowing who Jesus is, then they don't end up in eternity with the Lord. And so that is our main goal, what drives us. But we also know we need to minister to their physical needs. Again, I don't know if you've heard the phrase, an empty stomach has no ears. And so if we don't feed them, they're not going to listen to what we have to say. And so we actually partner with almost 500 different Christian mission organizations.
It's a pretty awesome program, right? It kind of makes you want to plan a mission trip too. Well, if you want to know more, go to missionaryflights.org.
Okay, I'm Dr. M.A. Holt, and I have a ministry that's called Total Man Mission Gates of Praise. Also, we have a food pantry that comes out under that ministry, which is Hands with Hope. We give you a hand up instead of a hand out, looking to help you do better. Hi, honey. How's the meat doing? Is it ready yet?
It's getting there.
The call was to feed the whole man, not just give him, push the gospel down his throat so far, and not feed the physical part of the man, because the man is a man of whole, threefold man. So God led me that I had to feed the natural part of the man as well as the spiritual part. So that brought forth the ministry of Total Man.
My name is Eleanor Ellis, and I'm assistant pastor at Total Man Mission Center Church. And I have been in the ministry for 30 years. I work here at Hands of Hope, and I help out Pastor Holt in every way I can. You cannot minister to a person spiritually and ask them to come to Christ when they're hungry. You got to deal with the hunger in their belly first, so it's not so prevalent, and then they will follow you to Christ.
My name is Pastor Eddie General. I've been ministering since 1983. Pastor Hope, she's a great woman of God. At the time, I had just got married and had a couple of young children, even though I was working. And most people think when you have outreach ministries, it's just for the homeless, or maybe just for those that are less fortunate, living in the streets, don't have any place to go. But she also helped those families that, even though they was working, they may not could have met all their needs, maybe financially, or maybe with food or substance, or even clothes or substance. She was there for them too, and that's how I met her. My family and I happened to see her giving away food, so we asked what was do we had to pay anything, or did we have to do it? She just said no. Certain criteria we had to meet, but she was there for us, and it was about 25 years ago. Yeah, and we've been working with her ever since. You know, at times I come here and volunteer because she helped me. You know, I volunteer my time so she can help other people.
Hi, I'm Brenda, and I'm originally from Michigan, but I moved down here 30 years ago. Well, originally my husband's folks moved down here and they had a stroke, and we moved down here to take care of them. My husband passed away 10 years ago, and at a very young age he had cancer, and it was very hard. Well, I wasn't too familiar with this place until about a year ago, and a couple friends told us about it. It's been a blessing to help out with food. It helps me a lot, and they're very good people. I appreciate everything they do.
Yeah, my name is Joseph. I was born and raised in Ocala. I've been helping Pastor Hope out ever since he's been here. Felt like it's the work of God. Be popular of this ministry. Well, when I was younger, I went to school and I ended up in prison. I feel like my role is to help people to get off drugs, and help people to quit drinking. I love working with Pastor Hope.
I got saved at 36. I wish somebody would have led me to the Lord earlier, but they were so busy putting me down and calling me all kind of names, they didn't have time to take me to God. But when I finally made it to Him, I enjoyed running a race. I love the Lord. At times I've wanted to give it up, but then when I think back over how many people has been blessed through the pantry, in which I prayed and asked God to do, it makes me want to push on. God is setting people free, not only coming in for food, but they come in for prayer. And God meets them here, and some be healed. And they come back and they testify to us that God healed them. What a blessing for the doors to be kept open to this place. That's my biggest concern. That's my biggest thing, to keep the doors open for the people. You know, it's one thing to just walk in and get some food physically, but it's another thing when you can come in and get fed spiritually and physically. To me, that is a blessing. That's my big way.
It's one thing to go get food if or when you need it for you and your family. But another program called Boxes of Love provides the food, but you get to make the meal for your loved ones. This program has been around for more than 20 years, and it's aimed to help the practical and spiritual needs of people. Let's watch that story right now.
We're here for a reason. People need Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Okay. We're His hands and feet and heart and voice. Okay? So as we're packing this food today, we're doing it by Jesus, through Jesus, for people who need it.
Yeah.
We're doing it in Jesus for those that need to hear the gospel.
Yeah.
This is not a feeding program. This is an outreach.
Jesus gave it to me. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, Jesus gave it to me. I'm gonna let it shine. Jesus gave it to me. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
Crew, or formerly Campus Crusade for Christ, has a division of its ministry called Inner City. So we're Crew Inner City, and we partner with churches and ministries in the greater Jacksonville area who have a desire to serve the poor. And we want to serve their practical needs and their spiritual needs. And so what we have today is a Boxes of Love outreach as a way of doing that. Boxes of Love works that we begin to understand what churches really have a concern for the poor. And then we train them. Every person involved in that church that's going to be involved in Boxes of Love goes through a 4-hour training in how to minister spiritually to the poor as they deliver their box of love. The boxes of love that are being assembled and packed today by the representatives from the churches that are participating will have a ham, a beautiful ham that the volunteers are trained to tell the people who receive the box of love, put that in the refrigerator, but a beautiful ham. And then all the fixings that go with that, with the potatoes and the carrots and the stuffing, the desserts. It's a really nice meal. And the family uses this food to prepare their own Thanksgiving meal. We think it adds dignity for them to prepare their own meal. This particular outreach is an annual outreach designed to bless people over the Thanksgiving season. But we found that as you meet their practical needs, people are open to having their spiritual needs met. And ultimately, that's very important to us, that we help people long term by connecting with God through Jesus Christ, that He might help them live daily in a way that's exciting.
I'm Pastor Chris White. I'm with the Freedom South Campus, which is a campus of Freedom Christian Fellowship. I got involved in Boxes of Love nearly 3 years ago when I first came into the city, and I connected with Brother Ben Goldsmith, and I saw the heart, and God has always told me that ministry is all about getting outside of the walls and being a blessing. You know, the Bible tells us that God so loved the world that He sent His only Son, right? And so if He loved the world and we're to be role models of what He did, then it's our obligation to show our love. And love, I believe, we have to show it with action. And when we showed love, we were able to kind of help bring this person through a very difficult season.
We've been doing Box of Love for 20 years. It's been a tremendous ministry for us to reach people where they are, to share Christ's love, to share the newness of this evangelism, and this love on people. I thank Ben Goldsmith and his staff and all those who participate, that we can reach people and just be real about it. It's not fakeness, just show people love where they are. And we do it not to get a name for ourselves, but that Christ will be glorified, the kingdom be edified, and folk be solidified. That's how we do what we do.
Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Amen.
You want to find out more about Boxes of Love, or perhaps start a program like it where you live? Go to their website, cru.org, or give them a call at 1-888-278-7233. Now, before we go, we wanted to leave you with a story about how homelessness isn't too far from any of us. I want you to meet Kenneth Phillips, who lives in Jackson, Mississippi. He's an example of how things you may encounter in life can drastically change how you live your life. His story may make you just a little bit more grateful for the things you have and what you don't.
Hi, I'm Kenneth Phillips, and I've been asked to very quickly tell my story. Regardless of how it started, after I got out of the military, I joined the Memphis Police Department for a short time. Then I worked for a food catering company. Then I went to an airline. For 31 years, I lived with the same woman. She was my little island girl. She was from Trinidad. Eventually, she wound up with cancer. I wound up with a heart attack, diabetic nerve pain. We decided to move back to Jackson, Mississippi because I have family that lives here. And to give you an idea of how fast everything can fall apart, where I had a beautiful life, didn't want for anything, within a matter of about 2 months, I went to nothing. Nothing. Depressed, suicidal, pain more than I can bear, lost Jean, went to the VA to get a prescription refilled so I could, we'll call it the final solution. Somehow they realized what was in my mind, and they sent me to the right place, talked to the right people. And a nice woman said she went to church with someone, and they sent me to Broomfield. It's a homeless shelter for people that wind up in situations like myself. I have been homeless almost a year now. I never thought a man could fall so far. You've heard people say they hit rock bottom. I went below rock bottom. I went about neck deep. and I never figured it would get any better, but it did. The people where I worked gave me an old beat-up Bible. I ironed the pages on it because it was so pitiful, and then I started reading it. And I remembered one of the last words Jean told me before she passed away. She said, regardless of what's happened to me, don't you ever get mad at God for what happened. I tried to remember that on a daily basis, and finally one day, another homeless person said to me, there is one part of the Bible you need to remember every day. He said, Peter once asked God to help him take a thorn from his side. He said, this is a guy that gave people their sight back. He's healed the sick and afflicted. And God basically told him, no, you're fine. Just keep on doing your thing. I take solace in knowing maybe this is my path now. Maybe I need to keep doing my thing with my little thorn in my side. My heart attack, that's starting to get better. My diabetic nerve pain, I take medicine for that. And now, after a year being there, I've helped others that are worse off than I was. And then I met nice people along the way. People that I thought had a hidden agenda. They didn't. All homeless people such as myself have a story. It's not always child abuse, drug addiction. It can be as simple as I fell off of something and hurt my leg. And because I didn't have a steady paycheck within a month, all come unraveled. And that was what would happen to me. It didn't take but about 2 months for my whole life to unravel. I'm now able to help. I'm able to do small chores, hand out towels, hand rags, soap, many other things, and I'm able to share with them how Jesus helped me and how he can help them and how far he has brought me from where I was to where I am now.
Thank you, Kenneth Phillips, for your beautiful testimony. If you'd like to know more about the Billy Brumsfield Shelter, go to stewpot.org. And thank you for taking the time to watch our show. We appreciate all of the love and kindness we hear from you on social media. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And there's now a section to submit a story idea, and we look forward to look at all of them. And don't be surprised if we show up where you live to spread some joy. Until next time, I'm JIOTSE Williams. We'll see you on Joy in Our Town on TBN. Bye.